This episode of the BJJ Campaign podcast is brought to you by Speed Pro East Bay in Alameda, California, in the heart of the San Francisco Bay Area. They're the source for premium visual solutions to spruce up your interior space. From window decals and wall murals to conference room graphics and directional signage, create a work environment that is tailored to your brand. They'll not only print your custom graphics, but do installation as well. Visit eastbayspeedpro.com. That's EastBaySpeedPro.com. And mention the BJJ Campaign podcast for 15% off your first order. Also, Eddie is a Jiu-Jitsu guy, so folks go out there and support him.
I'm about to feed him to the sharks right now. Get him hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is up. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it, and roll. Hey. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling the growth. That's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. Now slap it up, bump it, let's roll. Let's roll.
Welcome to episode 56 of the BJJ Campaign podcast. My name is Jeff Boone. I'm an A3 blue belt, 2 stripes.
Phil Kors, A2, blue belt, 1 stripe.
And as I stare across the podcasting studio audience, I see Phil holding his ear and holding 2 magnets.
I'm just squeezing them.
Squeezing them together.
So they can connect.
So that they can connect, so that he gets rid of his cauliflower ear.
Yeah, we're just flattening it back down a little bit.
So what happened, Phil? Why did it puff up?
Soft.
You are soft. Delicate is what I like to say.
Yeah.
Very delicate system.
Yeah, I got bullied. Now my ear's messed up.
By Christina?
Yes.
Happens. So on today's podcast, we want to kind of hit on some things, good habits for white belts, right? It's easier to incorporate good habits than it is to break bad habits.
Yeah.
And so let's just kind of go through that. Positionally, guard, good habits.
Yeah, I remember starting working with Ryan, and I think it was like a posture control drill or something. So I got in his guard and just kind of lowered my head down, and he was like, don't do that. It's make me pull it down. So when you get in the closed guard, get in there and get your hands on the person, not on the floor, and you have your head up, good posture, and try to enter in that way every time. So don't fight the person through the drilling, but get in the habit of that's how, when you get in the guard, that's how you sit. Engage
the hips, because that's what people who are good at being in the guard do. So yeah, I mean, it's important and important to do that while you're learning the technique, you're drilling, any of those things, to not facilitate those bad habits to be developed.
Yeah. And then on the bottom, make sure you are crossing your feet and actually closing the guard every time, and to grab something. Because I know I used to do that, and I think John likes to call it rodeo hands. But you see new people kind of stay there with their hands either out above their head or way out to the side. It's a really good habit to just start grabbing something.
No matter what.
You'll figure out what you like to grab later, but just start holding something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because, right, it makes the top person think, all right, even if you don't know what you're grabbing right away, it makes the top person think, oh, is that they setting up a scissor sweep? Are they looking for a flower sweep? Or meanwhile, you're just grabbing something to grab something because you're supposed to.
Just holding on.
Yeah, and then maybe, guess what? If you're holding on with both legs and both hands, it's better than both legs and no hands.
True.
Unless you're on a roller coaster. And in that case, you put the hands in the air.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't care.
Can even wave them. What else? Anything from side control you can think of?
I think it was, as I was thinking about this stuff, the one thing that really comes to mind is the like that elbow escape from bottom side control where your partner kind of will bridge in and bring the knee in and bring the upper body away. And that always feels really awkward if the top person that gets like bridged and then just stays there, you know, and like doesn't kind of follow a little bit to make it what's going to happen. So the rest of it then feels really awkward. So I guess more than anything, it's just kind of going back to trying to be like an active, good, engaged training partner of like, some of it's sort of hard if you don't understand the situation. But you know, that kind of comes back on the other person and try to help them understand as you're going through it. But like if they're following, then the move makes more sense. And there's a bunch of those, you know, scenarios when you're drilling stuff and it's like, well, yeah, if they just fall over, just get on top, you know, but somebody's going to push back. So that type of thing is going to happen all the time. So from side control, that one stood out to me as far as being on top because there's so many different ones you could do. I know a lot of people have helped me with different ways to add pressure, different ways to control and be blocking the hip and things like that. But for the drilling purposes and stuff, just trying to be aware of what situation, what you're doing in there. What do you have for side control?
What's that?
What do you have for side control? Blocking the hip.
You know, I'm always, yeah, I mean, that's 100% correct is that you're always going to block that near hip, right? I mean, you never want, that's where the space comes in. That's where they recover guard or recover half guard or whatever they're trying to do is create that space. So it was always something that just from wrestling, it was always very natural because you had to always control that hip, that near hip. That was super important in wrestling and super important in jiu-jitsu. So I would say just getting in the habit, and no matter if you know what to control it with or not, whether it's the knee, whether it's your hand, anything of that sort, I would say always have as little space as possible in that near hip. And I want to add another thing to what you said because I think it's really important in being a good training partner, and that is, like you said, whenever they don't have that response. And I remember whenever I was starting jiu-jitsu and I was like, gosh, I don't even know how to give you a response to it. And then I don't even remember, I think it might've been legs. I don't remember, but somebody said, well, yeah, if you want to know the response, just watch what whoever John has up there performing the technique on is doing. So not only for that, you know, obviously you're getting that technique. And by the way, you're probably getting only half the steps of the technique anyway. So it's okay if you watch what the partner's doing for the one, and you might actually see a step that that wasn't pointed out or wasn't something you would have seen just by watching your instructor, your professor performing and teaching the move. So watching the response that you're getting, because all of the positions that they're doing is in the position works because of something that the other person is doing. Right. So it makes sense to watch what the other person is doing as well. So maybe for, you know, they do it at least 3 or 4 times generally on every technique. He does it at least 3 or 4 times. So just take one time to just pay attention to that person who is teaching you the technique on. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something that's important, and the earlier that you learn it, the better off you'll be, and the better partner you'll be for your partner. Yeah,
I would say that one. And then for like the mount, for being on top is, again, don't be like sitting straight up like you're riding a bull. Or like down, but in like the top of a push-up position. I see those a lot. And then for the person on the bottom is just keeping the elbows in, and just, I guess, always thinking about like where you're going to put your arms, you know, and keeping them in and keeping them tight. Thinking about your neck and those things. Last night, I, again, was introduced to thinking about wrists because of the way Charlie was isolating my hands.
Yeah.
That's
you got to pay attention
for me.
to it. For sure. Yeah, I mean, same thing, arms, it's good with the mount, absolutely. you know, and I'll go like overall, not just in a specific position, but in any position, and that is your hands up or your hands down. So if your hands are up, in other words, the palm of your hands are up, that's supination, like you're holding a bowl of soup. If they're down, it's pronation. Okay. Don't ever have pronated hands.
You don't have a cool one for the other one? You have soup, but you don't.
No, supination is all you have to remember, because you know the other one's pronation. If you're holding a bowl of soup, your hands are up, your palms are up, right? So you always want to be supinated or holding that bowl of soup.
What if the soup is really hot? Sometimes I grab the top of the bowl because the soup is really hot, so I'm only holding it by like the edge.
That analogy, I do actually do that sometimes.
I've been having a lot of soup lately.
I know.
And that's how I take it out of the microwave.
It's a valid point, Phil. It's a valid point. However, doesn't work for this analogy.
Okay.
That would just confuse this analogy. And thank you for doing that, because now people are like, supination. But if I'm holding it from the top.
Because throwback to my categories game, I don't believe cold soup is an acceptable answer. I still have problems with that answer. I don't like it.
That's too. You can't say cold soup.
She said cold soup, and I was like, "That's
you can't."
She
two
started,
words.
So, no, well, I can't remember the exact thing. I think somehow it came up with like cold soup or frozen soup or something. And
Those are still 2 words.
I was like, that doesn't count. Well, you can do 2 words.
Oh, categories.
You could do 2 words.
Yeah. Oh,
but I was like, that's not acceptable because soup is hot. Because cold soup is a different thing.
Horchata is cold soup. Look it up.
I refuse. I'm still going to just not accept it.
You know what?
All right, Molly, he's got
Molly's
your back
right.
on this one.
Molly was right on this one.
I don't like it. Back to the point. Jocko's was easier because he said thumbs out.
I mean, Jocko's way smarter than me, Phil.
Yeah. Thumbs out. That's way easier. Thumbs in's bad. Thumbs out's good.
Okay, if you don't want to remember the super easy supination analogy, then I'm fine with that, okay? You do whatever you want. Thumbs out. Sounds stupid to me, but whatever.
Yep. So that is a good one, though. I don't know. It's probably easy for some people. I think that's one of the most challenging conceps to understand is where the elbows are.
Love to pronate your hands.
Yeah, I know. I think knowing where your elbows are is one of the most challenging things in jiu-jitsu so far for me.
But it's not challenging if you remember that concept.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, but here we are again with my elbows out.
You're not a conceptual learner, Phil.
No. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, from the mount though, I think is good for, especially from a beginner standpoint, because even watching Nick, he was pushing up. He's like, "Oh, I wasn't pushing up," and I was like, "I saw you. You were doing it." Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody is gonna do it at first.
That's kind of a self-correcting mistake.
Yeah.
But
I think that for starting out, when you're trying to build the good habits of concentrating on where your elbows are. I mean, I can't tell you how many double legs I've practiced with my head up. That's just not how it happens when I do it, though.
It's true. Head down.
I drill it with my head up 50% of the time, and I still can't do it when I'm like... Half those reps are so bad. I don't get it.
You get right one of these days, Philly. So, another topic that I personally like and employ in my own training is that whenever you're doing a technique for that day, like just for example, the other day we did the double underpass, right? I can't remember if it was Charlie or John that showed it.
I don't know.
But that's the only kind of pass that I'm going to try whenever we're sparring.
Yeah.
That until I get it, that's the only kind of pass that I'm going to try. And it's really good because you get that reinforcement of that technique, right? You've drilled it, and we've talked before about getting as many reps in as you can whenever we drill. Mm-hmm. But to incorporate that into your live sparring, it's another level. And the passes for me are probably the easiest thing to incorporate into a role because you're always going to start, you know, in a guard. So you're always going to be in that position. You don't have to get to a position where you dictate that position and then try it. And maybe you don't understand the setups or anything like that. So the guard passes is the easiest illustration for me on that.
Sure. Yeah. Agreed. So you're saying you do it until you get it once?
I do it till I did it. I got
or
it.
you like understand? You feel like you understand it pretty good.
No. So I mean, I won't try another pass until I get it once. In other words, if I get that pass and then positionally we reset and I'm there, maybe I'll try something different, but then I'm going to go back to it. I'm not going to repeatedly sit there and do a double under on somebody. Even
if that's the one you learned that day and you're trying to get reps in?
Yeah. No, whenever we're sparring, I'm going to do it multiple times on the same person, but just not 2 times in a row generally. You know what I mean?
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question.
Because Joey said that to me once when we were drilling and he was doing guard passes and my open guard is bad and I need practice. And he was like, I'm not just trying to pass your guard over and over again. Like, I'm working on this. I'm like, yes, so am I. So carry on.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's, I feel like if you do the same thing over and over again, maybe it's
rude.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't make sense now that I said, like,
yeah, no.
It's not.
I know. I knew what you were going to say. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no. I don't think it is rude. I think it's perfectly
like if it was the thing you learned that day.
Yeah, but if you sit there, you know, have this pressure pass, double under is a terrible pressure pass, and then you go back and then, you know, want to reset, like take bottom or sweep and then get in guard again and do the same thing. That's a pressure pass. That's kind of that might be a dick move for a double underpass. I'm not saying it is. I don't know. But it might be.
Okay.
You don't think? You got your skeptical hippo face on.
Yeah. I don't know, because like I'll do the same thing. I know people have felt that way. Maybe I think I just feel different about it because I remember going, I think it was it Ziegler? Bill
Ziegler?
I just kept trying the knee cut over and over and over and over and over, or over under. I can't remember which one. But that's how I do it. Like I just keep doing the same thing until I figure it out, you know, ears. So he just triangled me like 6 times in a row and he's like, all right, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, I don't care. I apparently will just keep smashing my face into the wall until I figure it out.
And Bill, really good triangle.
Yeah. So, I mean,
really hard to get out of.
I mean, and then he was trying to help me and stuff, but I don't think it's rude that he's giving me the reaction I'm expecting. I did that with Landon one day too. He's really good at triangles. And I was like, just put me in it. I was like, just let me figure out how to work out of it.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's funny because I know when you're wanting me to put you in a triangle and I feel bad about, like,
you won't do it sometimes.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. This is too easy.
Yeah, do it.
But you're down there and I'm like, I know he wants me to do this. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. Sometimes I get past and sometimes I don't.
Let's talk about that the other day.
I was close. I had a close one with Jared. He had a rear naked choke on me. I didn't defend it like early or late. I was so late. Again, yeah. Seeing stars, you know?
Yeah, happens.
Yeah.
AJ Clearman says, you don't necessarily have to tap the jokes.
No, I mean, like, that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm like, you know.
She's a savage.
She's tougher than I am. She does the ice baths. I don't do the ice baths, so I can't talk.
Yeah, she is tougher than you, Phil.
No, but you had the good triangle, and you were like pulsating the grip though, which is probably a good way to mess with me because I assume when you pulsate, that means you think you don't have it, or that means you're tired and you're trying to like re-grip and squeeze for everything you have.
I'm trying to feel where my hamstring's at whenever I'm pulsating, and also trying to feel the angle, which is best because I'm still not great at the triangle. You know what I mean? I know. I'm working on it. Like, I'm still trying to figure out like what's my most efficient movement to that. And I'm not going to burn out my leg. I'll never burn out my legs on a triangle. I mean, A, I've got pretty big legs, and B, I don't really.
Have you never done that? I've done it.
Burned out your legs?
Yeah, much times.
No, I never, because I always keep it kind of, even whenever it feels tight, I'm never, until you feel my knees going together, that's the only time I'm squeezing. If I'm just over in that triangle position and trying to readjust, I don't feel any burnout on my legs at all.
Okay. I also feel like I'm pretty bad at the triangle.
You're not bad at the triangle. You're not good at it.
Yeah. The next thing I am working on though is like how you stop me a lot of times is I got to figure out how to like work my hips around your wrist to either wrist lock you or just get rid of it. Because people block me and I struggle with killing that wrist.
Which one? What do you?
When I'm stacking and walking around to the side, people are stiff arming. I should be able to kill that a lot easier than I do. Yeah. I just gotta keep playing with it.
Yeah. So that you can't get the angle.
Yeah, so I can get around and stack. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I look for people to, because other times when people are pulsating, that's, if I can figure out and kind of feel it coming, I can time like a tightening of like my leash on your collar and stuff.
Sure.
So I look for those, and if I start feeling them, what you were doing was readjusting quickly.
Yeah.
So I was feeling good about like where I was going.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't feeling so good anymore.
Yeah, because it was very close. That's why I was readjusting quickly.
Yeah, it was good. I just thought I was very close also. I was wrong.
We were both close, Phil. I was just closer.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about
That's something else for that.
Incorporating what you learn in the lesson into your sparring and your rolls.
That's probably super loud.
Probably.
Okay. Yeah, because I was saying how I'll just do the same thing over and over again, and I don't really care. Yeah. Okay. You think that's stupid?
I think it's rude. I don't think it's stupid.
Well, I'm usually on the losing end.
Yeah, I don't think it's rude anyway. I was just saying that to be funny, but no, I think it's smart because you're reinforcing what you just learned and even more. So what?
I mean, I do. I guess I would say too. I don't even do it when it's something I just learned. But if it's something that I'm trying to do, and I just messed it up, I think that's why I like positional sparring so much.
I totally agree.
Because I just keep trying the same thing over and over again.
Well, I'll say it 1,000 more times on this podcast, and that is positional sparring. I believe is the best way to get better at jiu-jitsu. You know, because
it's just drilling. Yeah.
Because too often you find yourself just deadlocked and not being able to sweep somebody or anything. And like I told you a long time ago, I'm not gonna get myself in that position. I'm just going to leave an opening, not let somebody pass, but leave an opening for if they want to pass, they're going to be able to pass. You know, so that just move on to another position.
Yeah, that's smart.
But
it does work sometimes too. Like, and I've given up a lot of that. Like, because I can't even say it's like guard retention. It's just me being extremely stupid and stubborn with my back and like holding on. So that's when I say I'm bad at the triangles, I'm saying that because like I'm barely wiggling into one. But like if I go from a attacking position and shoot a triangle, I don't do it all that often. You know, mine comes off of people already passing the guard, and it's like due to the fact I have no guard retention, I fall back to this other plan of like a prayer triangle, which works on people that aren't very experienced. And if they are, it's nothing and they're just passed.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. No, that's not quite the same because I do set it up, but I don't have any elaborate setups for the triangle. Like I still stick my arm in.
I'm begging everybody to try to triangle me.
Yeah. No, you're right. But like setup wise, like that one that was really cool. I can't remember who showed this at Origin Camp, but it was like the flower sweep, except you grab the wrong wrist.
Mental coach.
Yeah. Oh, it was him. Gustavo Dantas. Shout out to Gustavo, the BJJ mental coach. Great podcast too.
It is.
but he was saying, grab the wrong hand. In other words, don't grab the hand that can post, so that whenever the hand posts, you've got the right hand to shoot the triangle with on the opposite side. Right. And that's a cool one. I've done that a couple times.
Yeah.
That was a really cool entry.
I actually seem to do it better the few times I played with the open guard stuff, and I just kind of shoot and jump into a triangle.
Sure.
But like the closed guard, I don't really do it.
Yeah.
Like Landon's really good at stuffing my hand. Like he'll pull on my hand till I pull back to stuff it in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Anything more on that? Like, I think it's really important that you try to solidify those techniques, because you're also going to see when those techniques that you just learned, which are going to be quite often, or that you just did in class, maybe you didn't just learn them. But I think you're going to figure out more, not just, you're going to understand the position more, not just the move more. You're going to understand the position more, and you're going to understand where it breaks down more. And possibly even come up with a new combination that you never knew kind of fit your style.
Well, like, so the other, like, I think 2 weeks ago now, I was drilling guard retention stuff on a Sunday, and then I think Tuesday's class went over the drill I was doing. But Sunday I was asking, I'm like, am I supposed to do it like this or like that? And then I was having issues with it. So then as soon as he shows it, he's answered 2 of my questions, and I can immediately walk up before drilling it wrong anymore to ask, but it takes like kind of going back to like, until I screw it up, I don't know what I need help correcting. But yeah, I think if you're trying to force it in that scenario when it's still fresh in your head, like you've just been focusing on it and you've just been struggling with it, and you tried to do it, even like drilling without a resisting partner, I was running into trouble. So it always happens with a resisting partner, right? And then it's kind of like, this is what's happening. How do I knock this next roadblock down to get around it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly. So switching topics, this is something that you asked me, and I'm going to turn around. I'm going to ask on you, and that is, other than competing, which is a great way to challenge yourself and challenge your jiu-jitsu and make you better. What are you going to do to challenge yourself in the coming, let's take it in quarters, right? So every 3 months, in the next 3 months, what are you going to do other than compete? Because you are going to compete. You compete every other month or so.
Yeah, I think the next competition is going to answer that question more clearly, because I feel a lot more prepared for what I want to do. I have the same game plan that I had last time. I just think I might be able to do it this time, when I was pretty confident I wouldn't do it last time. It goes in cycles.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to answer it better. I've been saying for a long time I want to implement strength stuff, but I do plan on doing that.
But you've been talking about it now for like 8 months, so it's about time to start.
I'm due.
I mean, that's kind of
that's my window. Like, I know I need to do it. I put it off for 6 months, and then I kind of start considering it more seriously. Yeah.
You've got to warm up to the idea.
Yeah, it takes a while.
That's like you've been saying you haven't been wanting to do ice baths for like 6 months or so. So
I think we're past 6 months, because you did it last year at Origin. So that one may take that one might be closer to the decade mark. I don't know. It might be 8 years. Yeah, I would say strength training, because I was arguing with Nick about this. He was saying it's like flexibility is harder to overcome than strength.
In wrestling, he's correct.
I think it would be easier to become flexible than it would be to put on like
I thought you
muscle.
I took it as him meaning that it's
more like beneficial to be flexible than strong.
Yeah. In defending, it's easier if you're flexible than if you're stronger.
I can't remember how it came up, but he said like, oh, I can't do this or that because I'm not flexible. I'm like, well, stretch, man.
I mean, he's not inflexible, it didn't seem like.
No. I didn't. But I think it would be easier to become flexible than like to add strength. I don't know.
It's much easier to become flexible.
It's-
Yeah. I mean, you've seen the Facebook ads on those dudes doing splits, right? Have you
No.
seen that? You haven't seen that? Maybe it's because I do the stretching videos and stuff, and I do the stretching because I was very inflexible. I'm still not super flexible, but my hips are moving way better, and like I don't feel the need.
Nimble.
I'm very nimble for a 210 pounder. I don't feel the need to gain more flexibility. Like, yeah, would it be nice? It would be very nice. It would be, and I'm not super flexible. I just feel like I have enough flexibility to where that's not a weakness for me. I've got other weaknesses that are more important than flexibility because I could always be more flexible. You could always be stronger.
Yeah.
But just trying to get a game plan to improve those things. I don't know where I was going with this.
Doesn't matter. Where I was going with it though is like realistically looking around the room, I'm always going to be one of the smaller people, and I think I've never like took any sort of strength training seriously except for the time I wanted to lose weight, and it worked. I got a lot stronger, and then I just stopped trying. So I never really got stronger than that. I think I could add a lot that way.
Let's get you on those Mexican supplements, man.
Working on it, and because I tried to improve cardio, and you know, I ran a couple times, but like feet hurt. I don't like running, and it sucks. I think what's helped my cardio a lot is getting better at jiu-jitsu and training a lot.
Yeah,
That's made and eating better has significantly improved how I feel while I roll. Don't worry about it.
What was that last one?
No sugar stuff, you know, no cookies, no ice cream, nothing
interesting.
good.
Okay,
It's all gone.
can you expand on that a little?
If
more?
you train twice a day for a while, you really don't even want the ice cream. It's weird how that works.
It's very odd. Very odd. I would also add in there Joey making us do 10-minute rounds at Sunday rolls.
Yeah, those weren't bad.
They weren't bad at all.
No.
They were great.
I think doing a lot of jiu-jitsu helps you just do jiu-jitsu better and helps the cardio. Although I did notice, again, it is always that first roll. Like if I don't have time to warm up, that I'm breathing harder than I am the rest of the day. It's another thing I want to look at.
That's why you flow roll first.
No, that's why. Well, no, I'm thinking for the competition purposes of getting that out, because the more I'm paying attention to it, that first roll, I'm trying so hard to stay calm. Like I think I've said before, I try not to sweat in that first one. Like if I can keep I'm still trying very hard, but I'm also trying not to sweat. I'm trying to keep it calm and controlled. But I can still tell the breath is not as good in that first like warm up period, I guess you would say. Trying to figure out how to overcome that.
So are you? So you're walking into the match dry. You've got no sweat.
What?
You're walking into the first match without having broke a sweat.
I've never done anything other than maybe stretch.
I think that's a mistake.
I do too now. Now I see it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
So,
Good.
and now I'm seeing it when I'm training, because I've been going in the mornings, and I don't have time to do anything other than I literally wake up, make a cup of coffee, stretch, and leave. And then I that's, you know, I don't like waking up before 8 o'clock. You know?
Sure.
So
Who does? I mean, a lot of people do. But
yeah,
they're
a lot
weird.
they do. Yeah. So I've seen that first roll, even if I'm not like going hard or trying or whatever, like if I'm just working on whatever, that's when I'm slowest.
Yeah, and it doesn't work that way whenever we go from fundamentals or from class
Nope,
to sparring,
it's been
because we're
moving
already
around for an
warm.
hour.
We've already
Yeah.
broke a sweat because we're drilling hard, right? I mean, yeah, I mean that makes total sense. And like, that the last tournament I did break a sweat beforehand, and I felt way better that first match. I mean, way better.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna figure out how to work that out.
For sure.
What were we talking about?
How you were challenging yourself.
Yes, strength training. You.
Me what?
How are you going to challenge yourself?
Oh, I don't challenge myself.
Smart. You never lose that way.
No, I'll probably do. Yeah, I'd say every 6 months or so, I'm going to do a competition. I think it's important. I think you have to challenge yourself in that way. I will say this as a caveat is I don't feel it's necessary to compete other than to get better, which is great for jiu-jitsu. But I know that that I'm going to get better and keep challenging myself. But I also know that I don't want to expose myself to injury. Me almost being a pentagenarian. Is that
I have no idea what
yeah,
you're trying
that's
to say. Is
someone
that a
at the
dinosaur?
age of 50.
Oh,
That's a pentagenarian.
okay.
I think it's penta. I don't know. I just make stuff up sometimes. So
Yeah, it sounds like a.
But I feel that the downside in a competition.
The other guy's gonna be 50.
No, they're not.
They don't have age brackets.
No, sometimes it's 30 and over. Sometimes it's 40 and over. Very rarely do they have a 50 and over unless you're at IBJJF or whatever Masters, and I'm not that interested in competing in that anyway. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that. 40 and over seems reasonable.
Okay.
But 30 and over a little different. That's, but whatever. I've done it. It's okay. It's fine. But, for me, my challenge is that, now that we don't have a no-gi class, and I want to be better at no-gi. I don't train it enough. I like the one that we had a week, and it just, we didn't support it enough. Therefore, the class was changed to another one that's more effective. I support, that. I think John does a great job at really tailoring our classes to our needs. But part of the challenge for me is that whenever they run a Thursday, no gi, because they'll do sometimes. Usually Thursday it's gi at the Charlotte school, but every so often they run no gi and then gi sparring on Thursday. So that's really my challenge, because they have a bunch of killers in the room that are awesome to train with.
Yeah.
And so that's really how I like challenging myself in that respect, because I don't think that you have to train with people that are way better than you to get better, but it does help. And I have to remind myself too of the exact conversation that we had in our last episode, which was, don't feel like they're not gaining anything from it. Because whenever I'm rolling with Lee over there, honestly, I don't feel like he's gaining anything. But then I have to listen to my words. Like I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's doing new stuff. He just does it way better than I do any stuff.
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Does.
Yeah, exactly. And so I have to keep that out of my head, which I have been doing. I mean, and Wilfredo, Bill, all those guys, all the great blue belts over there, and Phil Andy and purple belts like him, and all those guys that are capable of really putting. Not saying that people can't push at our school, because they certainly do. It's just that we all roll with each other so often, right? We know each other's game a lot of time, whereas I feel like if I go there, it gives me different looks, and you have a different problem solving mindset whenever you're doing it. It's all still jiu-jitsu, but it's just I really like it, and that's the main thing that I'm going to be doing to challenge myself. Other little things that I do to challenge myself is, whenever someone's really new at pass, sweep, or submit, or submission, or positional sparring, I'll give myself a handicap. I won't use my hands, or something of that nature. And I think that's important for everybody to challenge themselves that way. It helps it helps both parties, right? It helps you get timing and balance down more. So just little things like that as well.
Cool.
What do you think? Anything else? Any suggestions?
I don't feel like that's really how you're. I don't think that's a challenge, but I do see what you're saying.
Why is it not a challenge?
That's just training.
Yeah, training's challenging.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm seeking discomfort in that training.
Okay. So I'm having this category's difference of opinion again. But it's okay.
Obviously, you're wrong then, because cold soup was just fine.
That's fine. I've been wrong before. I just keep doing it the same way over and over again. We've been over this. No, I just think I see what you're saying.
Suggestions?
Oh, I don't have any.
Really?
No.
Come on.
Well, mine is competing.
Yeah, I know. You're young.
Well, yeah. I think I just look at it different. But I don't know. It was kind of an open-ended question that I just kind of threw at you, what you were going to do next. Because like I know how I'm going to do it to myself. And I also, I've done nothing but think about the areas that I wanted to work on. Since
your last competition.
Yeah. I mean, well, before that. But like, I was thinking about that the other day too. It's like I was frustrated that day. I can't remember which day it was, but like trying to sweep people and realizing you couldn't do it. After feeling pretty good about, what was going on for a while. But like you hear it all the time, people spend the first year surviving. That's what I was doing. I was just getting good at how I would survive in the guard, and I wouldn't leave it. And now it's basically looking at the second year of figuring out how to advance that position one spot. So I've done nothing but think about how I can't get on top or take somebody down to get on top, and how I've been trying to address those. That has been my challenge. So I don't know. I would say strength training would be the next one to incorporate that and continue without losing stride of what I've already started.
Let me put it to you a different way. And that is, I think I've been to all, but maybe one of your competitions. No, I think I've been to all of them.
You missed the first one. You were at the beach.
That's right. You're right. I missed one. I've seen videos of all your matches, right?
It's unfortunate.
Right. True. You've seen videos of all my matches. What do you think my takeaways were from those matches in improvements?
For mine? For yours? The first one, you took everybody down the way you wanted to and executed your game plan. You stayed on top and did your one takedown. The second one, you tried to execute your game plan the whole time, and then you were still able to get down. I think you might have done it because I think you would have won faster if you just pulled guard and swept. And you've worked a lot on guard.
I know, but what my point behind this is, I don't feel like I get as much out of that competition from that aspect as you do.
Because you've won.
No, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that. I think it's because I'm risk averse in competition. I don't play my game in competition. I mean, I play the game that I'm best at competition. That's not my game.
Well,
I'm a nimble outside passer guard player.
That's not the game you want.
But do you see where I'm coming from with that?
Yes.
Do you agree? Do you agree? Disagree?
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree you're good at that. I'd also agree you still see what I'm saying, where if you didn't just fight for the takedown for like 10 minutes against that guy and you just immediately pulled guard and swept, I think you would have been fine. And
That was fine anyway, but I can't do that in my head because
maybe that's your challenge.
because my plan was going to be pull guard.
Yeah.
And then Legs, who is a black belt, who's much better at jiu-jitsu than I am, was like,
okay,
stupid, what worked for you? No, he didn't say stupid. He might have, but it was all in a fun way. What worked for you in competition? What works?
So just do it. Who cares what happens?
Yeah, I care. Because
that's your challenge.
Yeah.
Get rid of the ego part then, right? That's what you always say.
Right.
All right. Well, that's my suggestion then.
I can do it in training. I can get rid of that in training. I just can't get rid of it in competition.
So that's your challenge.
No, it's not a challenge because I'm not going to do it. It's like you with an ice bath.
All right. I was this close to saying, but you could see how that challenge would help you. But I could also see how the ice bath would help me. I was that close. Okay. I think that would be good. I don't know. I think if you did a competition, just sat on your butt, like as long as you wouldn't get disqualified by the rules, I think that would be your challenge. See what happens.
Yeah, no.
I mean smash, so what?
So, yeah, exactly. So what? Yeah, right. But I'd be pissed at myself for not playing my best game. I would.
What if that is your best game, but you don't know it because you never tried it?
It's not my best game, Phil. I mean, as much as I love it, I love it. I love guard play.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not bad at it for where I'm at in my campaign, but take down, top control. And I heard this the other day, like Josh Hinger, I'm listening to the Matt Byrne podcast. So you turned me onto that with Keenan Cornelius. And, he said, what did he say? It was one of his fans said, I have zero guard. Josh Hinger had zero guard. That's not true. Obviously, he's a great black belt, but he plays zero guard in his competition, right? And I'm sure Josh Hinger's got a phenomenal guard, but he doesn't play guard. And I just think of it as like, yeah, that's the whole top game passing. I'm better at that than I am at guard, just naturally because it's something I did for a long time in wrestling.
Yeah, that's my whole point. You already.
Yeah. Yes. But it's that part of it to me. It's not boring because I like every part of jiu-jitsu, but for me to play that way all the time is boring to me. I'd rather be challenging myself, playing guard and getting better at those guard attacks and open guard and sweeps and back takes, things of that nature.
All right, let's see if we can agree on a couple things. You think
I love arguing with you, especially when we agree.
You think playing guard is more fun?
Yes.
You want to get better at playing guard?
Sure.
You think competing is the best way to get better?
Yes.
You think positional sparring is the other way to get better?
Yes.
Okay. So
I see where you're going with this.
Where do you think I might be? Where do you think I might be going? The way to get better at what you want to get better at would be to
compete in guard
and do it. Yeah.
That's stupid.
Okay. All right.
You're
100%. You're theoretically right. A blue belt, the same level as me. Even if we, we're exactly the same size, same age. You still have, even if it's 5 years, I don't know how long you wrestled, whatever, 14. Experience of takedown practice and being on top practice that myself and a lot of other blue belts just don't have. So I could see where that seems like you have a immense advantage in that one area.
I do.
So I get why you don't want to do that all the time. So I think the challenge is do the uncomfortable thing and sit on your butt in a competition and see what happens. If you lose, I'll post it on Instagram with some LOL faces.
I mean, of course you.
So
yeah, well, I would. Yeah, you should.
But something's going to happen. It's going to make your guard better.
Yeah, you're probably
in a way
right.
that it's not ever going to happen regular training, or it'll happen in 6 months from now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really, really, really good point, Phil. Make really good points. You know what I'll do? I'll play guard whenever you take an ice bath.
It's the safest answer you could have given.
Play guard in competition, that is. Yeah, there it is.
All right.
Good. Now, I mean, that's why I love doing this podcast, and I didn't really think of it that way. It's a super valid point. It's a super valid point. Because, and we've said it, I've said it, and I mean it. It doesn't mean anything to win or lose a competition. It really doesn't. Mm-hmm. It's great. It feels great whenever.
But it sucks when you lose and you don't want it to happen. I mean, I've been there. I wouldn't open my feet. I get it. I'm gonna hang on for everything that I can.
Yeah.
I do understand it. That was one of my challenges, is to figure out how to not freak out, not burn out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. So to be continued on that, but no, it was a good discussion. I appreciate it. So Phil, tell the listeners how they can support us if they choose to.
You can go to facebook.com/BJJ Campaign Podcast, join the group, and help me convince Jeff to compete and sit on his butt and play guard. We'll start a poll, see what people think.
And also, give us a follow on Instagram. I just posted today. If anybody wants to see Phil and his silly ear magnets in place.
Tired of my ears hurting.
Go check that out. Also, we've got rash guards that should be here.
I think we'll have them probably Friday, whatever.
Probably Friday. So
next week it should be up on.
So in other words, 3 days previous to this podcast airing, we'll have this.
Correct. Yeah.
See, that wasn't smooth at all. She just said, and we now have BJJ Campaign rash guards available.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're super cool.
BJJCampaignPodcast.com. You can buy patches, t-shirts, rash guard, or all three for the price of all three. So
we'll include shipping if you do all three.
That's right.
There you go.
Or if you buy one.
Oh, we do include shipping?
Yeah.
Oh. You can tell Phil's our marketing. It's a guy.
These deals are one of a kind. Let me just say.
One of a kind. Oh gosh. And folks, if you like the podcast, or even if you don't and you want other people to make fun of it with you, just send it to someone, share it. That's always a good fun. And we hope you enjoy it.
And if you're figuring out a different way, because this was just a random question we were thinking about stuff to talk about. I just asked Jeff, like, how are you going to challenge yourself next? Because my personal one is always competition. But if like you have one that you're doing, like even last night, John was saying, if you're good at maintaining the mount, don't use your hands. Well, Christina kept laughing because I face planted. Because I'm not good at the mount. But I'm going to figure it out, And it was funny.
Yeah.
Because I slowly but surely planted my nose in the mat. But if you have one, like that's a drill I'm going to work on and try to get better at, is maintaining the mount with your legs and your hips. Let us know. Because like
post on the Facebook group. BJJ
always interested
Campaign
in trying to figure that stuff
Facebook
out.
Group. Yep. And
if it's really good, I'll steal your idea and act like I came up with it.
It's a great idea.
For the credit.
Yeah, for sure. You should. And folks, if you're not out there doing something to make yourself better each and every day, get out there and do it. Phil and I choose Jiu-Jitsu. We hope you do too. This episode of the BJJ Campaign Podcast is brought to you by Speed Pro East Bay in Alameda, California, in the heart of the San Francisco Bay Area. They're the source for premium visual solutions to spruce up your interior space. From window decals and wall murals to conference room graphics and directional signage, create a work environment that is tailored to your brand. They'll not only print your custom graphics, but do installation as well. Visit eastbayspeedpro.com. That's EastbaySpeedPro.com. And mention the BJJ Campaign Podcast for 15% off your first order. Also, Eddie is a jiu-jitsu guy, so folks, go out there and support him.
I'm about to feed him to the sharks right now. Get him hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is up. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it, and roll. Hey. Yeah, that's the way that it go. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling the growth. That's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. Now slap it up, bump it, let's roll.